So Dr. Tian, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Do you spend more time in the United States or in Asia?
Actually, in the last 5 years, I spent most of time in New York, and but this year I spend more time in China, and I do a lot of the cross-border deal.
How is that space doing, cross-border M&A?
And the entire situation is pretty good, and I think for the last 10, 20 years, and the investment by volume in the United States from China is not so big. But this year, and probably is a turning point, and the investment here comes from China and increased, I think, at least 1 time and 2 times maybe. So I should say the statistics, but I see a lot of deal come to the United States.
You mean deal count?
Yeah, deal count, yeah.
Which one has more, like a US to China or China to the US? Which direction has more?
I think the most deal come from China, and the investment come from China and acquire company here, and such as there, like I mentioned in this video, and the one is Chinese company pork producer, Shuanghui company acquire Smithfield, which is the largest pork producer. And the deal size is over 7 billion. This is the first time the China company,
So other than the food business, what other sectors are hot?
Real estate. And there are many Chinese investors buy the house here and buy the building here. The largest one is the Shanghai Fosun Group acquired JP Morgan building.
And, right, downtown New York.
Yeah,
right?
downtown New York, and the building they invested $700 million more. And this is the first time and the largest deal in the United States.
Do you see this trend continuing?
Definitely.
For how many years?
10 years.
10 years. So you're very optimistic.
Yeah. Why? Because right now the portion of the deal, the entire deal for the world, and China just occupy a very small percentage. Probably less than 10%, 20%, something like this. So by the GDP, the size, China is the second largest country.
Yes.
So I think China should become the second largest player in the M&A market in the world.
How many percent is equilibrium for you?
I think maybe more than 40%.
More than 40%.
Yes.
And how long do you think?
It's I think that in 10 years.
Within 10 years.
Yeah, within 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're very optimistic.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of people that through our conference and people that we talk to think China has been growing, but China's growth has been slowing down. What is your view on that?
I think it's possible, but on the other hand, I think that China will continue to growth probably by 7% up to 80% for next 10 years at least.
Per year, right?
Yeah, per year. GDP growth. The reason is that China is still in the stabilization and the process, because there are at least half the population still live in the countryside. They need to move to city. This is a big demand, support the economic growth. And the second thing is that right now China is a country and produce a lot of the custom goods, and in their export those custom goods to outside. But recently, China government emphasize the more in the internal market, and the more company will produce those goods and distribute in the China market, not just outside. So I think those things will continue to support China growth. Yeah.
In terms of like cross-border transactions between U.S., Asia, China in particular, what do you think is the most important thing, and what do you think is the most misunderstood thing?
I think the most important thing is that the both countries should have the investment agreement to be signed between China and the U.S.
Like government to government?
Yes, like government to government. That will give people more confidence. especially for the Chinese investor came to this country, they need a protection. So they're a little bit worried about the policy change here or something maybe interrupt their deal. So, and I know that both countries, China and the U.S., is prepared to sign the investment protection agreement, but not yet.
So you feel whatever regulation is in place right now does not give you enough protection?
At least uncertain in some way.
Okay. What is not certain in your opinion that you would like to have some more certainty?
For large investors here from China, when they come here, their first things that they will worry about the U.S. government will stop this transaction. So unfortunately, and recently there's 3 cases, and like the Smithfield case and the Fosun and acquired the JP Morgan building. And the other is the AMC the deal, the intertreatment for the film,
Oh, movie theater, yes.
Movie theater.
Yes.
Those 3 deals, all successfully approved by the government. That gives more confidence for the Chinese investor. But I still think about when they came to Europe. So whereas the UK, French, and Germany, so the government usually doesn't in fact those deals. But in the U.S., sometimes become concerned about that.
Right. So for the U.S., you are saying in order for us to be more competitive to Asian investors, we ought to have more favorable regulations.
Yes.
So we would not lose behind to countries like Germany or UK.
Yeah. Yes.
And like a protection agreement would be very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also my other question is, what do you think it's the most misunderstood aspect of cross-border transactions like this?
This is a good question. And misunderstand, there are some of the misunderstanding. And the first thing is the culture. And for many of the Chinese investors, they didn't have been in the United States for a long time. They don't fully understand the culture here. For example, in China, our business culture is relationship driven. If you are my friend, I trust you, I will do business with you. And in this country, and not just trust, formula friend, and they have to go through a very, complicated process to sign the legal contract. And so sometimes for the Chinese investors, they're not so familiar with those kind of things. So they need to learn about that. And from the U.S. side, from U.S. buyer, U.S. seller, they need more patience to deal with the China investor. Sometimes they think, we got to sign agreement. We got to get the lawyer to help us and to draft the agreement. And when we sign, and everything's okay. But that's not. Sometimes you have to fully understand the investor. What's their need? What's their concern? What's their weakness? What's their something they need help. And for the U.S. investor, so for the U.S. companies, if they would like to deal with China companies, they need to pay more attention for the first deal. That's important.
First deal?
Yeah. For example, if the investor is a newcomer, the first deal will take a longer time compared with the deal we done.
To establish yourself so they know who you are.
Yes. This is the case I saw a lot of time.
So you're saying you feel the U.S. system, it's too much bureaucracy. It's not meritocracy. Of course, everywhere is relationship driven. We're in the business. And of course, it's a people's business, and you need to know the right people, and you need to be personable, all that, but you feel it's too much red tape.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us on the due diligence front, or what do you look for when you advise a deal or go for a deal?
I think the most important thing is that we are, as a Chinese investor, we are looking for the good partner. We are not so familiar with the market, and I think if we can do a deal successfully, and we have to have the good partner, and we need the people, the company with a good record, and to provide more opportunity for us. I think we definitely can bring a lot of deal to this country. The good future for the business cross-border transaction.
One last question. What is your view on short-term, long-term foreign direct investment?
Yeah, I think the next year, 2014, should be a good year because this year, and all the cross-border deal give the meaningful positive index this year from China side. So I think 2014 and the more investors will come to United States looking for opportunity. In the long run, of course, I'm positive, but maybe I'm not sure. So there between China and the US, there are political issue and other issue maybe interrupt this process or not. So definitely for the long run, 10 years, 20 years, I think China, now it's time for China investors go global. So I can see the mainstream will continue.
So you feel the globalization has a lot more to saturate. It's not saturated yet, but it'll get there in, as you said, 10, 20 years. Yeah. How does social media or technology play in this? Because I feel the world is getting smaller.
Yeah, I think the world is definitely getting smaller, especially from through the internet, through all the innovation in the media industry and in the internet industry. And I'm not sure. Do you use WeChat?
No, but no, I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yes, you have to use. I think the WeChat is one of the innovation compared with the Apple. And in China, 600 million people use it every day. Very efficient. So now I think this kind of technology can help the world. And in the United States, I didn't see the people use, the Facebook, Twitter, as Chinese people use WeChat.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is Twitter is blocked in China. Facebook is blocked in China.
Yes, yeah.
So is that why you make other technologies such as WeChat?
I'm not sure, and there should be some political reason, but just as a business people, I just recommend that, and the China WeChat become very popular, powerful business tool, and you can use that to promote the business.
So it's no longer just I communicate with my friends. It's we can talk business on that platform.
Every day we use this talk business and make decisions on the WeChat. Not very interesting. You have to know that. Because
here in the U.S., there are a lot of things going on in the Twitter sphere. You get your news on Twitter faster than you get it from the network sometimes. Yeah. So people rely on Twitter to get a lot of the important information, but there's no deal being done on Twitter.
This is Twitter, and it's different with WeChat. WeChat is a business tool to help people do business, and of course, it's a social media to help people. Like my mom, my mom's age is 85 years old. I taught her about WeChat, and she can use WeChat to communicate with me every day. And she's in Beijing, I'm in the United States. Very, very convenient.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us?
Okay, this is a good meeting.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.